Sometimes you walk through life alone, wondering if anyone understands what you are going through, hoping someone will listen and offer a word to make your day. The Church of God of Prophecy offers unconditional love and support, regardless of what you are going through. Visit cogop.ca for a location near you. The Church of God of Prophecy, developing authentic disciples of Christ.
Welcome to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Woodroe Thompson, and we'd like to thank you for joining us this evening. My guest is the host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of epic conversations. He's the 2020 Best Podcast New Award winner and the 2018 Innovation Award winner given by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. He hosts the only online show in the world for men that is sponsored by Dove Men Care. His purpose is to bring purpose and clarity to fathers and men's lives. He believes the better men are, the better the world will be. My guest this evening is Dr. Vibe. Welcome to Let's Talk.
Woodrow, thank you so much for having me on your platform to share with your audience. And I just want to give a big hail up to you and Dwayne and the others that have been involved in your journey on this platform. You and I had a chance to meet about 2 or 3 years ago during a Silver Trust Media event. Correct. At the North York City Center. One of those in-person events. You remember those people? In-person events?
I remember that.
Yeah. And Dwayne and I have known each other for a number of years, and he introduced me to you, and I had wanted to meet with you, and I made a point saying that one day we're going to find ourselves together. Now, we're not face-to-face together again, but we're digitally, so I'm very humbled to be here and share with your audience. So as I always like to say, we're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. So let's get it.
I agree with that. Thank you so much. Now, before we get going, how are you doing during these very challenging time with COVID-19 and so many things that's happening in our world?
You know what? By the grace of God, this has been a great time of opportunity and growth. And one of the things that mantras I've used through this time is don't waste the crisis. Don't waste this crisis. This has been a time, if you are able, and some of us aren't. Let's just put that out there. Not everyone is able to take advantage of it, but I've been able to have some of the greatest personal and professional growth over the last year. So That's amazing. So I want to be a light of hope for people that it can be done even when times look dark. And yes, I do have my moments. I'm human, but you know something? I have ways of putting latitude in my attitude.
Very good. Well, it's about looking for the opportunities in anything that's happening in life. So that's very good to know. I'm excited to talk to you about the work you're doing with men, fathers, dads. But before we do that, I'm always interested to know a person's journey. You're involved in so many different things. As a matter of fact, you've started 3 shows during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Tell us about your journey. How did you get here? Were you a journalist before? Were you involved in podcasts or television? What's your background?
Well, a little bit of my background, and people always ask me that, so I have this answer. When I had hair, I used to go to University of Toronto Scarborough College. And I was very involved in campus radio. Absolutely loved campus radio. because
Right.
like I'm of Jamaican heritage and my dad's very involved in music. So I grew
Mhm.
up with music in my house, waking up every Saturday morning, my dad playing Jackie Matu, Byron Lee and the Dragoneers, all R&B vinyl records.
Right.
So that influence hit on me. When I graduated from university, I said, amen. I don't have to write essays or read books that have nothing to do with me.
Right.
And many years ago, there was a bookstore in the Bathurst and St. Clair area of Toronto called Burke's
Mhm.
Bookstore, run
Yes.
by Sam and Rita Burke, incredible people to this day. And I would
Right.
go there on a regular basis. And one day I went in there and I saw this book, Black Men, Obsolete, Single, and Dangerous,
Oh,
and the
wow.
African American Family in Transition.
Wow.
I picked this book up. I sat down and read it, bought it, and read that whole book that evening. And I said to myself, some way, somehow, I'm going to provide a platform where at that time, Black Canadian men could speak their hearts and minds, because I was tired of seeing Black Canadian men portrayed in the media as entertainers, which means either playing an instrument, performing, basketball
Right.
players, or being involved with the law. And we still see too much of that today. But I said I was going to find a way. And the journey started. All I had to start off with was a laptop and a dream. And I just started broadcasting. And from then on, it just has grown. And it's been a blessing, not only to me, but for others through me. So that's a little bit of the story.
Right. So I noticed that you talk a lot about fathers and dads,
Mhm.
you know, wanting to help men to discover their purpose, and especially fathers and dads.
Mhm.
There must be a man in your life that has given you and caused you to develop this passion, other than the book you read. So tell us about your dad. How has your dad influenced you to be who you are today?
Well, it's funny. Before we went live, you asked me what's my real name, and I didn't tell you. But one of the things is my dad and I have the same first name and middle name.
Wow.
Many years ago, I realized that he named me for a reason. He wanted me to carry on the legacy and foundation that he laid.
Right.
That hit me. And then about 12 years ago, unfortunately, my father had a heart attack. And the day of his surgery, I wheeled him in on his gurney to the operating room.
Wow.
And then I was in the waiting room with my mother and myself for 4.5 hours. And I had those woulda, coulda, shoulda moments. And I said,
Yeah.
man, I don't want to say that we didn't get an opportunity to do it.
Right.
When the doctor or the surgeon came into the waiting room, my life froze.
Wow.
Because in a matter of 10 seconds, my life would be changed forever, whatever he said.
Mm.
I asked the surgeon, is he going to be all right? He said, he's going to be okay. I got down on my knees and crawled over to that surgeon and hugged him for about 2 minutes. And I asked him if I could see him. And he said, yeah. So go in, see my dad. And if you're a Jamaican or West Indian father, you'll be able to relate to this.
Sure.
I asked my dad, so how you doing, Dad? Oh, I can feel my toes now. I say, you wretch. All this time, all this was going, and you didn't say a word? So, moral of the story, many times you can take unfortunate moments and make them golden moments.
Right. Mm-hmm.
From that moment on, we regard each other as our best friends.
Right.
And I've been blessed and still blessed to have a lot of people in my journey, men, older, younger, who are fathers to me, because my dad does not have everything I need to know, but I've been able to have numbers of different fathers and mentors along my journey that will continuously help me. And I'm also, one thing too, if you want someone to mentor you, you've also got to help them. You cannot just have it as a one-way street. You can't just be a giver. You got to give and take. So I just wanted to share that.
Yes, I agree with that. My dad was my hero, so I understand having a good relationship with dad. And there are other men in my life who mentored me, and I enjoy mentoring young men. So that's wonderful. Just briefly, how did you get the name Dr. Vibe?
Okay. So before we went live, folks, I gave the story. Again, when I had hair, I was the second Black employee in the office of Adidas Canada, and I was one of the first Black Canadians hired to be a music marketer at a music label. And I had those jobs at the same time. So there's probably no one else can claim that in this country. 1 year at Adidas Canada, we were having a Christmas party. I was getting into the music. And Stuart Smith, one of the footwear managers, footwear product managers, said, "You got the vibe. You're Dr. Vibe."
Ah, there you go. And the rest is history, as they say.
Yes, making history is no mystery from that time on, my
brother. Tell us about Dad Central and your work with them.
Okay. Dad Central is Canada's national fatherhood organization. They've been around for about 20 plus years. I got involved with them when I was working at a social service organization in Toronto, which is the only organization of its kind in Canada. It's a father-focused family center.
Right.
So I want to repeat that. Father-focused family center, the only one in Canada.
Well, it must be the only one because I'm sure many of our men have never heard of it. How can men get involved? How can fathers get involved?
Well, there's I know your producer will share your contact information. They can contact me. They can go to the Dad Central website, dadcentral.ca, and they offer a lot of services. There's a lot of downloadable free information there. There are programs that are offered, a myriad of things, but I don't just stick in my Canadian base. I'm a digital guy. So for many, many years, I have a global community.
Right.
So I make sure that I get involved. There are men I'm mentoring as far away as Bali.
Wow. Very good. Very good. Now, you have a vision to bring purpose and clarity to fathers and men's lives.
Yeah.
What would you say is the purpose of men in this generation, and more precisely fathers?
I think for them to live their purpose. There's so many men and fathers out there that have given up on their dream.
Right.
And when a person doesn't have a dream, it can be a very lonely and very challenging life. We need to have our men feeling good about themselves. And and I say fatherhood and manhood because we have to realize that before a man becomes a father, he's a man.
Yes.
So there's and you have man, relationship, then father. A lot of times we do not concentrate on those two areas when he's a man and when he's in a relationship that then produces him becoming a father in a family. And that's one of the things I really like to focus on is the manhood part. When I first meet a man who is a father, I have about 10 or 15 questions that most of the time they're looking at me like, what are you asking me this for? And the reason why they're looking at me because no one's ever asked them.
Right. I agree. Well, Dr. Vibe, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. We're going to be back with Dr. Vibe.
On the Let's Talk television program, we share solutions to real-life problems with real people, showing how faith guides everyone through the storms of life. We talk about tough issues that affect all generations. Our conversations help you learn, grow, and lead. Help us continue with this great work by partnering with us today. Call 905-625-1278, extension 233, or visit letstalkca.org. We look forward to your partnership with us to change lives. Let's Talk, revealing the heart of Christ through engaging media conversations.
Sometimes you walk through life alone, wondering if anyone understands what you are going through, hoping someone will listen and offer a word to make your day. The Church of God of Prophecy offers unconditional love and support, regardless of what you are going through. Visit cogop.ca for a location near you. The Church of God of Prophecy, developing authentic disciples of Christ.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. I'm speaking with Dr. Vibe. Now, Dr. Vibe, we live in a different world. When I grew up, masculinity or manhood was easily defined, I think. We're living in an age where we're facing gender fluidity, gender ambiguity. As you work with men and with fathers, how has that impacted the work that you're doing?
Great question. For me, the power of the media is so impactful on men's lives. Many men that I help are confused what their role is because they're getting different messages all around the place.
Right.
They got messages when they were growing up. They were getting messages now. So it's a bombardment. And one of the things that every man should have, you need to have 2 or 3 men in your life that are with you when everything's great, but especially when everything is not great. Men need that. We need friendship. We need brotherhood. So we can at least go through these storms of what are we defined as, getting our defining ourselves. So many times, whether you're a man or a father, you've got so many things you're doing, work, family, this, that. We don't spend time investing in ourselves.
Right.
I would challenge you, my friend, the next man that you see, ask the man that you see saying, what is your dream? And see if they even have an answer.
Wow. Do all men, regardless of race and ethnicity, view their purpose and their role the same? Is it different in the Black and the white, the Hispanic? How have you seen it?
That's a great question because I have a chance to help men of all different backgrounds. The other day, I was helping a man in Serbia.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. You know what I will say to that is there are everyone has different definitions, but the more men that I encounter and help, there's many of them have the same values. You know, they want to achieve. If they have a family, they want to serve their family, and they can different backgrounds, but they have the same cores. And there are everyone has different purpose. And again, depends where you are in your journey. The man what my goals are now were different 5-10 years ago.
Right.
So every man is at a different stage. The key thing is we understand. We may not agree, but we understand and recognize that stage. So everyone is different. Manhood, fatherhood is different for every different person. Just like everyone's definition of a friend is different. If you ask me and you ask you our definition of a friend, it probably be 2 different things. Right.
You know, I've watched movie stars, and one of the persons that I've watched many times, especially with addressing systemic racism, is Denzel Washington. And every time they would push a mic in his face and ask him what does he think about racism, the first thing his default position is always fathers in the home. That's always his default position. How important do you think fathers in the home are, not just to all cultures and ethnicity, but especially the black family?
Critical. Absolutely critical. I'm just coming off last week. I did a presentation at Canada's National Fatherhood Conference about Black fatherhood. And when I was getting ready to do the presentation, all the research information I found was from the United States. And nothing wrong with that, but I made a spin on it. I actually pre-recorded a conversation with 3 Black Canadian fathers.
Wow.
And I knew all 3 of them, but they didn't all know each other. And one of the commonalities that came out in the first 5 minutes, each one of them had lost their father in the last 5 years. Right there. And that subject alone bonded these 3 men who didn't know each other. And by the end, they said, look, we've got to stay in touch with each other. We're a brotherhood, etc. Fatherhood is critical. And that's why I say the better men are and the better fathers are, the better the world will be. That's just my opinion. People may push back on it, but I think that we're dying for it, especially in the Black family. And there's so many different reasons why it isn't there. We don't have enough time for that, but it is absolutely critical.
Well, one of the things that I've observed as a pastor and as a minister is, especially in our Black community, is when you have a father in a home that is upset with his wife or his girlfriend or whomever she is, they have children in the home. The man's default position, of course, I'm generalizing, but I've seen it. The man's default position is to say, I'm not going to pay the mortgage. I'm not going to take care of the rent. I'm not going to buy any food. And so the wife or girlfriend is left having to figure out what to do. And it's distressing for me because I wish that the man would realize that just because I have a beef with my wife or my girlfriend, I'm still responsible for my household. How do we help men in our Black community, especially in the Black community? I'm sure it happened.
I love this.
But I'm concerned about my community. How do we help men to see that that's my responsibility?
One of the things I say to fathers is, especially if you have younger children, everything you do is going to impact your children.
Right.
I have noticed many a time when fathers, and it doesn't matter race, but we're talking about Black fathers here.
Yes, for sure.
Many times when Black fathers go wrong, they're only thinking about themselves.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about the impact it has, let alone on their partner, spouse, wife. They're not thinking about the impact it's going to have on their kids. If you ask Black fathers, what is one of the three most important moments in your life? 75% of them will say the birth of my child. One of the births of my child. So my question is, if that is such a significant moment in your life, why are you doing things that show me that's not a significant moment in your life?
Right.
Everything you do as a father impacts your kids. Doesn't matter what age. In fact, I was going to say young, but it doesn't matter what age. It has an impact. So my question is, why are you doing things that are having a not only at the moment, but that could have impact for generations to come?
Oh, most definitely.
Right. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it answers my question. I'm just hoping that we, at some point, we can find, what am I looking for? Some tools or how we can help these men to, as you say, to realize how impactful that is to their children. I have two sons, and I cringe sometimes when they remind me of things that happened in their childhood that I wasn't thinking they're paying attention to. So you're correct.
Can I just add something really quick on that?
Go right ahead.
That is so critical what you said, and we need to invest in fatherhood.
Yes,
Fatherhood is not an expense; it's an investment. Fatherhood is an investment. So if we do not invest, and we have to realize it's a long-term investment.
Yes.
If we don't invest in it, look at the results we have had.
Yes, that's true. That is true.
Thank you for allowing me to continue on that.
Right. You also host a show on Black Canada Talking. Tell us more about that.
Well, don't waste this crisis.
I'm not wasting it.
Last August, a member of my community said, Dr. Vibe, there's this thing on CBC radio every Sunday afternoon called Cross Country Checkup, where they take calls from right across Canada. Why don't you do something for Black Canadians at the same time that Cross Country Checkup is doing their thing? So I just started.
Very good.
And and that's been going on since mid-August of last year. So every Sunday afternoon, most Sunday afternoons at 5 p.m. Eastern time, I highlight a Black Canadian, or we'll have panel discussions, and that's been going really strong, because sometimes you just got to jump off a cliff and grow your wings on the way down. I didn't know what was going to happen, but you know what? I don't let the options affect my destination.
Right. Very good. Now, as you mentioned that, I realized that you have interviewed people from around the world. You have had some epic conversations. I happen to have seen some of them with some prominent men and fathers. What is one epic conversation you have had that has challenged you? Can you remember one epic conversation that has challenged you?
there's a conversation, and all of them are fantastic. There's a conversation I had at the end of last year with a gentleman named D. Chansonberry.
Right.
And I don't know if you had seen it, but D.
No, I haven't.
Chansonberry is him and another gentleman named Bill Duke produced a documentary a number of years ago, back in 2011. That's when I first met him at the Toronto International Jazz Festival. They produced co-produced a documentary called Dark Girls, and it was all about Black women changing their skin to look lighter.
Wow.
And I've been keeping in touch with D. Chansonberry since then. So finally got him on the platform after 9.5 years.
Right.
This twice last year. And this is a challenge in a bad way, but this challenge to me, he took me to a deeper level of my journey. He said that, Dr. Vibe, I want Black people to stop surviving and start living.
Wow. That is powerful.
And he also said that he's tired of Black people making dinner out of scraps.
Wow.
When I heard those two statements, that just froze me. I said, prolific. And he's an incredible thinker. He was so open and shared with me last year. He had 4 of his closest friends pass away, 3 of them due to COVID, and also his mother passed away. But he also admitted that he has been doing therapy for the last 25 years.
Right, right. That's amazing. Now, I'm thinking about this generation of men. I have 2 boys.
Yeah.
And I realize that as our world changes, some young men don't understand what it means to become a man. So if you ask them, how do you know you're a man? Some will say, when I got my driver's license. They seem to struggle with manhood. We don't seem to be doing a good job in passing on to them and to allow them to understand who they are as a man. Mm-hmm. How do we help these young men discover their manhood, their purpose, their masculinity, and to embrace it?
Well, a few things. Again, I said it earlier, we have to invest in them. We have to spend time with them. Now, I know we all have schedules. And again, it's not how much time you spend with them. It's what you do in the time you spend with them. And also be open with them. Admit your greats and your losses.
Right.
There's something in male relationship when you admit that, you know what, I ain't all that. I'm just Clark Kent. I'm not Superman. I'm just Clark Kent wanting to get a little bit better each day.
Right.
We have to spend that time with them and take time to hear their story, acknowledge it, amplify it, and then share some of your story. Because storytelling, African heritage is based on storytelling. When you can be, I'll use this word. I don't use it, but people like say vulnerable.
Right.
I'm tired of that word. I like to say most guys don't like those big words. Just say open. I'm open, and just admit some of your things. Yeah. Right? Because trust is big with men. It's huge.
Yes, it is. It is
huge.
Now, I know that we're winding down, man. I have so many things I want to ask you. We're going to have to do a part 2, but here's what I want to do. There are many men, fathers, dads, well, however you want to describe them, that are discouraged when it comes to their role and their purpose. What would you say to these men to encourage them to just move on with their life and discover their purpose?
A few things, and a great closing question here. First of all, give yourself grace.
Yes.
It's, hey, we're all trying to figure it out. So give yourself grace. Mm-hmm. Also, have that brotherhood of 2 or 3 men. Have those gentlemen in your life. I have them. That if something goes great, they're there. If not great, they're ask. A lot of times what's holding men back from progressing is they're afraid to ask for help.
Right. Very good. How can our viewers support or partner with you in the work you're doing?
2 words, just ask.
Okay.
I like the information at the bottom, but I don't want to make things complicated for people, because after we leave this conversation, whether you're watching it live or on replay, life happens.
Yes, correct.
So I want to help men, fathers, and those that love them win or get breakthroughs.
Good, good. Well, Dr. Vibe, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to certainly invite you back. Thank you for a wonderful conversation. I can say this was epic.
Okay. Well, honored and
Blessings to you.
blessed. And I just want to close off like I always do. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And as I said early on, remember to give yourselves grace.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. That's all the time that we have for Let's Talk. I hope that you enjoyed Dr. Vibe. The information is on the bottom of our screen. You can certainly be blessed by the many things he offers. I'd like to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube page. We'd like to thank you for joining us. I realize that we used to be in Yes TV, and some of you, some of our viewers don't realize that we've made the transition, and now we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. We're also on our website, letstalk.ca.org. I would like to remind you to join us. Please send us a line. Just let us know you're enjoying the show. We'd love to hear from you. And we also love your financial support. Fathers, dads, men, let's keep doing what we do. Blessings to you. Thank you for joining us.
On the Let's Talk television program, we share solutions to real-life problems with real people, showing how faith guides everyone through the storms of life. We talk about tough issues that affect all generations. Our conversations help you learn, grow, and lead. Help us continue with this great work by partnering with us today. Call 905-625-1278, extension 233, or visit letstalkca.org. We look forward to your partnership with us to change lives. Let's Talk, revealing the heart of Christ through engaging media conversations.
Sometimes you walk through life alone, wondering if anyone understands what you are going through, hoping someone will listen and offer a word to make your day. The Church of God of Prophecy offers unconditional love and support, regardless of what you are going through. Visit cogop.ca for a location near you. The Church of God of Prophecy, developing authentic disciples of Christ.